What is up, Guff gang? Joey Marino here from Grown Up Fantasy Football, here to do a little DFS. If you're playing during the divisional round of the playoffs, I'm here to help you set a DFS lineup. But before we get into it, real quick, if you haven't already, or if you're new here, hit that subscribe button down below and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever we post on YouTube. Check us out on Twitter at GrownUpFF and on Facebook, Grown Up Fantasy Football, where you don't miss any of our content. Let's get into the video. All right, so I am taking the Draftkings NFL Classic matchup for the divisional round, setting a DFS lineup. So there's 4 games to choose from. We got Rams at the Packers, Ravens at the Bills, Browns at the Chiefs, and Bucks at the Saints. So a lot of players to choose from. Let's start with quarterback. So starting at quarterback, we've got quite a lot to choose from, okay? You got Mahomes, Jackson, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Baker Mayfield, and either Jared Goff or John Wolford. So looking at this to start with, the most expensive player is Patrick Mahomes at $8,000. I think there's a good value, though, right here, and that's going to be Baker Mayfield, believe it or not. He's been playing pretty well as of late, and, you know, it's interesting. PFF put out on Twitter, in the red zone, Baker Mayfield's thrown 22 touchdowns and 0 interceptions. He's looking pretty good. You know, if the Browns can move the ball on the Chiefs like I think they will, Baker's got a good shot and a lot of upside in this matchup. The Chiefs don't fare very well against fantasy quarterbacks, and he's only averaging 17 points a game, but his price tag is at $5,300, so I think it's a pretty good value where we can pay up on other positions. So I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield at quarterback. If you don't go with Baker, I think another good value, though, would probably be Tom Brady or Drew Brees. And I'm leaning Brees a little bit more just because he's only $300 more expensive. He's at $5,600. You know, the Bucks don't have the best secondary. They have a pretty good pass rush, but I like the Saints offensive line to hold up. I think the Saints will have a good day on Sunday, so I think Brees would be another good option. Brady's not a bad option either. He's averaging 23 points per game, but he has been shut down by the Saints twice this season. Will it happen again? Not sure. They're a little bit. There's a lot of risk associated with these guys. You know, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. They are the safety net, pretty much. Mahomes pretty much guaranteed to be a safety net, but I'm going to go with value, and I'm going to take Baker Mayfield right here. So moving on to running backs, we've got a lot to choose from here, and I think a pretty obvious one to me, which is a really good value, is Cam Akers. He's only $5,700. He's not biting into your salary right here, and he's going up against Green Bay, who has been historically this whole season pretty terrible against running backs. Cam Akers has been really hot at the end of the season. He burst onto the scene against the Patriots, and he's had pretty solid games throughout the end of the season. There is a tad bit of injury concern. He's been injured throughout most of the year, and there's a chance for re-injury always, but I think Cam Akers is just cheap enough. He's below Dobbins, Chubb, Aaron Jones, and Alvin Kamara. I think he's a pretty good value right here. So I'm going to take Cam Akers at one running back spot, and in my other running back spot, I'm thinking, you know, Nick Chubb would be a pretty good value at $6,600 for all the work he gets. Plus, Kareem Hunt hasn't been seeing as many targets lately. They've been going to Nick Chubb, especially in PPR DFS lineups. That helps a ton. So I like Nick Chubb, but if I want to go play it safe, someone who's going to get guaranteed volume in what could be a tough game is Alvin Kamara. He's at $7,900. Now, what we did is we didn't pay a whole lot for quarterback, so we can pay a little bit. We can pay more for other positions. I think I'd take Kamara here. You know, he's going to be involved regardless of the matchup. He's basically been matchup proof and pretty much won any redraft or dynasty fantasy leagues for the season. So I'm going to grab Kamara right here, but Nick Chubb is also a really good option. So let's move on to wide receivers real quick. We got a pretty good amount to choose from. Now, the most expensive player on the board is Devontae Adams, coming in at $8,600. Do I like this matchup against Jalen Ramsey, though? I'm not so sure. Jalen, I think it's going to be 50-50 pretty much. Devontae Adams will get his, but Jalen Ramsey will get his too. I'm not expecting a huge day from Devontae Adams, but I mean, it's Devontae Adams. He could always go off. Now, someone I am looking at for sure is Michael Thomas. He is pretty underpriced right here at $6,700. He's the fourth wide receiver in terms of salary. I like Michael Thomas in a very easy matchup for him against the Bucs. He hasn't really been playing all season, but we know the talent of Michael Thomas. He's got Drew Brees, who's going to pepper him with targets. And is it smart to double up with Kamara and Thomas in what could be a tough game? Maybe not, but I think I'm going to pull the trigger with Michael Thomas because I think I really love the value right here at $6,700. Then we can afford some other really good receivers too, which I'm also looking at Jarvis Landry right here, who comes in at $5,600. I've already got Baker Mayfield, and the best person to stack Baker Mayfield with would be Jarvis Landry. He gets a ton of targets. He's averaging 13 points per game, which is just about the same as Michael Thomas on a very short sample size. I think Jarvis Landry could have a pretty good day here. Now, the Chiefs are second against fantasy wide receivers, but if you got Baker Mayfield, you want to get Jarvis Landry, stack those points in what either could be a shootout neck and neck, or what could be the Browns coming back from behind to keep up with the Chiefs. So I think Jarvis Landry would be another good option to have here. And another wide receiver I'd be looking at if I want to go cheap is Gabriel Davis for the Bills. Now, it's not the best matchup, but we could see Marcus Peters or Marlon Humphrey matched up on Stephon Diggs. I may not want to pay up for him right there. He's averaging 9 points a game, and he kind of showed out against the Colts last week in the wild card round. I like what I saw with Gabriel Davis. I think he can get a lot of targets in this game. I think it's going to be a close game too, so he's going to be involved. It's not like they're going to lean on the run, where they only have Devin Singletary as well. So I think I would play Gabriel Davis in that third wide receiver spot. He's only $4,000, which keeps me well within budget. We've got $18,800 left to pay up for for a tight end, another flex, and a defense. So I'm going to go with Gabriel Davis in my third wide receiver spot. All right, so moving on to tight end. Now, there's two pretty much guarantees right here. Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews, they are going to get volume, especially Travis Kelce. I can pay up with Travis Kelce right here. Mark Andrews is an established target in the Baltimore offense. He's been ceding some some targets to Hollywood Brown lately, but Mark Andrews is still reliable. And the other tight end that I'm looking at is Robert Tonyan, who's third, who comes in at $4,200 against the Rams. Now, what I'm thinking about this game is with the Packers and Rams is, if the Rams start bringing linebackers to try to get pressure on Aaron Rodgers, who has a line that's been battling injuries just about all season, Robert Tonyan could be that safety valve for Aaron Rodgers. And he's in a great offense. He's been playing really, really well throughout the entire year. He's had a couple of duds, but for the most part, Robert Tonyan has been very solid. He has a nose for the end zone. If I'm looking at an upside play, I'm definitely looking at Robert Tonyan, especially at $4,200. Now, I could pay up with Kelce, and I'd be fine with that, especially in a very good matchup. The Browns rank 30th against tight end, and I would love to have Travis Kelce, a piece of that Chiefs offense, on my lineup. Mark Andrews is only $5,000, which is significantly cheaper than Travis Kelce. He would also be a really good addition as well, but I think I'm going to go with Tonyan and play upside on my tight end, so I'm going to lock him in at tight end. All right, so moving on to the flex, we got a few players. We got $10,600 left in the salary that we can allocate to a flex and a defense. We'll need about $3,000 for a defense. So with the flex, we can afford a good bit of guys right here. Devontae Adams is $8,600. He's pretty much out of the question. Tyreek Hill is $8,000. We could maybe swing it with Tyreek Hill, but the players I'm looking at are Hill, Kelce, Stephon Diggs, Aaron Jones, and Nick Chubb. So I like a lot about all these players. I've talked about Kelce with so much volume. Tyreek Hill is an absolute dynamite player. He could blow up pretty much any game. Aaron Jones has the upside of possibly being a safety valve, but has probably the worst matchup out of here. Stephon Diggs, he also has a tough matchup. He'll be dealing with Marcus Peters or Marlon Humphrey. Now, we did see A.J. Brown, put some work on Marlon Humphrey, so maybe Stephon Diggs could do the same if he's matched up there, or, Martindale could put Marcus Peters all over Stephon Diggs. It'll be a shadow game, I'm pretty sure. And then you got Nick Chubb, who I really like a lot, especially with him being at least $6,600. We could afford pretty much any defense if we take Nick Chubb here. He's going to have involvement. He's been seeing a few more targets towards the later half of the year, and especially last week where he scored off his target. I think Nick Chubb could be the right play here, just because we can still grab a pretty good defense. So I'm going to go with Nick Chubb, who should have a really good game in the flex. All right, and for defense, now we've got 4,000 even remaining. We can afford any defense we want. The top of the list is the Packers at 3,900. Do I think they are a great play? I think they're a good play. I don't think they're necessarily great, and it's purely matchup based. Now, the Packers have been really good against wide receivers. Jair Alexander has been a very good cornerback just about all season, but the Packers, overall haven't been the best defense in terms of fantasy points. So do I really want to take the risk there? But, the other thing you're looking at is every other defense is matched up against a very potent offense. So where do you play? And I'm thinking about the Saints right here. They're going against the Bucs, and yes, the Bucs they're loaded with talent. Tom Brady is Tampa Tom. He's finally unlocked, the secrets of this Bruce Arians offense and has been playing very, very well as of late. But the Saints this season have been his kryptonite. Is it something that, Tom Brady just couldn't get over the hump in the regular season? Now it's playoffs, Tom, and he's a different person. Possibly. And, there's the old adage, you can't beat a team 3 times in a row. Maybe not. I'm trending to think that the Saints may win this game just because of that defense is so strong up front. Can they create pressure and get to Tom Brady? Washington kind of did, but Tom still had a really good game. I think the Saints have a little more experience on that line, on their defensive line. I think Cam Jordan gets to Tom Brady. I think the Saints could force him into a mistake. And yes, they have to deal with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and Antonio Brown. But I think Marshawn Lattimore has Mike Evans' number and pretty much every other receiver in the NFC South's number pretty much every year. So I think I'm going to roll with the Saints here. They're only 3,300. They're the third best defense that DraftKings is ranking right now. So I'm going to go with the Saints, and that leaves us with $700 left in the salary to play with if we want to adjust our lineup. But to run through it real quick, here's what we got. At quarterback, Baker Mayfield. At running back, Cam Akers. At running back, Alvin Kamara. And then at wide receiver, Michael Thomas, Jarvis Landry, Gabriel Davis. At tight end, we got Robert Tonyan. At the flex, we're putting Nick Chubb. And we're going with the Saints defense. So, hey, hopefully this lineup will win you some money. Hopefully it'll win me some money too. I'm going to play it. But thank you so much for sitting through and listening to our show. Feel free to comment below who you'd put instead of any of my guys. If you agree with my lineup, if you disagree, please put it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and react to them and give you my takes on what you guys are thinking. Be sure to like and subscribe. Be sure to grow up and be sure to get guffed.